When you're forced to take a required minimum distribution from your IRA, from your retirement accounts, is it better to do it early in the year or later in the year? I've got that answer and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Once you reach a certain age, your pre-tax retirement account, so your IRA or your 401k that you've contributed pre-tax to, or maybe have some company match dollars in, you're required to take money out of that account every single year. Basically, the IRS has said, listen, it's part of the benefit, part of the contract, part of the deal that you made in getting the tax benefits, the deduction when you make your contribution, pre-tax, you get to deduct that. We're not going to tax you on those dollars. And then while it's in that account, it's going to be sheltered from tax. All the dividends and all the growth, it'll all be sheltered. But listen, there will come a time we're going to force you to start taking some money out of that if you're not already doing so. And that age used to be age 70 and a half. They moved it to 72. And then just recently they moved it to age 73 with a disclaimer, with another kind of add-on in there, but that 10 years from now, well, 9 years now, it will be moving to age 75. Other than that, it's really simple. At age 73, you are required to at least withdraw a minimum amount out from your IRA, from your pre-tax 401k, from those pre-tax types of retirement accounts. And so if you're taking out more than that, no problem. But you've got to at least take a certain amount out. Same rule applies if you inherit a pre-tax retirement account from someone that's not your spouse. Even for your spouse, you've got the choice of treating it like an inherited account or just combining it and making it your own. So you've got that decision. But this required minimum distribution it's required for these pre-tax retirement accounts. Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks now do not have this requirement. So you can draw money out when you'd like to out there in retirement, but there's no forced time. Well, you've got to start taking a little bit because that deal that you made with the IRS was different. Roth contributions, there's no tax benefit in the year that you make the contribution. There's no tax deduction. Yes, you're getting an enormous, fantastic tax benefit, and that all the dividends and growth, that's all sheltered while it's in the Roth. But then when you withdraw the money out there in retirement, as long as you meet the 5-year rule, which I'm sure you will, then you draw those dollars out and the growth is tax-free. But there's no forced time, not yet, where the IRS says you have to take at least a certain amount out. So applies to pre-tax retirement accounts. Well, when you get there, or if you're already there, or if you're helping mom and dad and they're there, is it better to take this required minimum distribution right away, early in the year, like right now, it's in the spring when I'm recording this, or is it best to wait until later in the year? Well, there's one circumstance that I can think of where it's best to take it early. All the other circumstances or all the other reasons suggest that it's better for you to delay your required minimum distribution. I'll get to that one here in just a little bit, but what are the reasons? Why would I say so strongly that for the most part, you're going to want to delay when you take your required minimum distribution and take it at the end of the year? Well, there's a few reasons, okay? First and foremost is these dollars, they're in your IRA, likely they are invested, and if you are in mutual funds or stock-based investments, even though no one can tell you what the future holds for the stock market, history tells us that 3 out of every 4 years the stock market is positive. And yes, also says on average every year from a high point to a low point we'll likely see a 14% decline. So a very big decline at some point middle of the year. But if you don't look at those weeks or you don't look at those days, don't look at those months, and just look at an annual basis, 3 out of every 4 years the market grows. The market is making money, and therefore, because this IRA or this tax sheltered account is just that, it's tax sheltered, that behooves you to keep the dollars invested as long as possible. And while you could take your required distribution on January 2nd or in January or February or early in the year, better to delay that to the later part of the year, because 3 out of 4 times that means that delay will mean there will be more compound interest and tax sheltered, tax deferred growth. A second reason why, for many people, it's better to delay your required minimum distribution and take it near the end of the year or the fourth quarter is so that you can do more tax planning. You've got more of the year that's already occurred, so you can see this. We do this all the time for clients that we're doing financial planning for. Yeah, they've got their Social Security predictable income. They've got maybe a monthly withdrawal from their investments to supplement that. That's fairly predictable. But dividends, capital gains, or additional withdrawals out of their retirement accounts for extra needs or whatever, that's more sporadic. And therefore, if we wait until later on in the year, that maybe the beginning of the fourth quarter, we can look back and say, okay, this is how much money you've drawn out. This is the capital gains that you've realized. These are approximately the dividends. And therefore, it looks like you're in this spot from a tax standpoint. You've got to take this required minimum distribution, and therefore we've forecasted your taxes. It looks like this. We should withhold, 30% from your required minimum distribution because you haven't been paying estimates along the way, or there was no withholdings on your Social Security, but it's going to be taxable, that sort of thing. So you can, from a planning standpoint, you can take a look and you can pinpoint in, you can narrow in on, all right, what should we do with this RMD, this required minimum distribution for withholdings? The other thing you can do is say, okay, well, based on all that, it looks like there's going to be a lot of room here left in the 12% tax bracket or 22% tax bracket. Would it make sense to do a Roth conversion above and beyond your required minimum distribution? And if we did that, we would want more tax withheld. Therefore, let's do the required minimum distribution first, because you need to do that, satisfy that before you do a Roth conversion. Let's withhold a lot of that, maybe 70% of it, or whatever the number is. Withhold a lot of it to Uncle Sam, so you've paid in a lot of tax, and then do a Roth conversion above and beyond that to get your income up to a certain threshold, and no withholdings needed on that because we held so much from the required minimum distribution that now that Roth conversion, no withholdings, can have all of it going into the Roth IRA, reducing your RMDs in the future and having all of that tax-free growth both for you and for your beneficiaries. So those are just a couple of the strategies, the tax planning decisions that you have, the choice that you have when you've delayed RMDs until out there in the future. And third reason to delay your required minimum distribution until later in the year is similar to that second one, but this one revolves around annual giving. A qualified charitable distribution is a financial strategy, a tax strategy, where for 501c3 nonprofit charities, churches that you want to support or are donating to, you can donate once you turn age 70 and a half. And yes, I know, required minimum distribution starts at age 73. This starts at age 70 and a half. You're allowed to transfer money directly from your IRA, not a 401k, not a 403b, directly from your IRA to that charity, okay? It will satisfy that will go and count towards some of your required minimum distribution, but doing that transfer, because it's going directly to the nonprofit, it will avoid tax. It will be a withdrawal and even satisfy your required minimum distribution, but it will avoid tax. And therefore, doing your required minimum distribution at the end of the year, you've got a chance to see, well, how much qualified or charitable distributions have I done so far this year? And then let's subtract that from my required minimum distribution, and then I'll take what's left. If you do your RMD, your required minimum distribution up front, early, and then as the year goes on, you then do qualified charitable distributions, and you donate to money, or donate to charities, then the cumulative, the amount that you took out as your RMD, you took out the full amount, and these qualified charitable distributions could have counted for some of it and meant that a smaller amount would have been taxable for you. Those are three primary reasons why, when you're subject to required minimum distributions, it's better to wait until later in the year from a planning standpoint instead of just taking it all up front. The primary reason why you would want to take it early is if you needed those dollars for lifestyle. If you were in a spot where to supplement your Social Security, you were actively drawing out of your IRA, you were actively drawing money out of your retirement accounts because you needed the funds. While it's required from the IRS, it's also required or necessary for your lifestyle, and therefore you're just accustomed to drawing it out, then certainly no need to wait. No need to wait. It's in those circumstances where maybe you're drawing out less than you're required to, or you're not drawing out at all because you've got your supplementing Social Security or your finances from other accounts. That's when and gosh, almost all circumstances, better to delay or wait till the end of the year or until you've done that planning with your CFP to make sure that there isn't any reason or to make sure that you've captured all the planning opportunities with your RMD. Lastly, and I'll tuck this in because we get this question all the time, in the year that you're turning 73, in the year that your required minimum distribution needs to start, do you have to wait until your actual birthday? No. The rule says in the year that you're turning 73 or in this first year, up until April of the next year, you have to take your first required minimum distribution. So, and the year and most people don't exercise that option to delay it to the next year because then you'll have to take 2 required minimum distributions. It's an option, gives you choice. In some very small circumstances, it's better to do so. But many people in that first year, you should take it. You don't need to wait until your first birthday. Lots of planning around required minimum distributions. So these ideas are just a handful, just a couple of the things that your certified financial planner should be providing as they give you clarity, confidence, and creativity as they help you plan for your overall financial life. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.